Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the NLC. We are here for the Division 2-3 promotion tournament. I am Brackish Brit. I am joined by M-Test today to bring you the upper bracket final between Invulnerables Esports and the August Clash team.
Man, I am excited, Brack. This is going to be a best of 5, and I have the honor actually to be casting a Swedish team today. That is, I mean, it's a UK org, but they have Swedish roots. That's pretty much the info that I have on them, and I don't usually get that treat. I mean, we don't have a Swedish team in the Division 1, not even close. Maybe, spoiler alert, maybe there will be some in the near future, perhaps next split. I'm not sure, but today, already today, Brack, I get the honor to cast a Swedish team. I'm so excited.
Well, let's talk about the teams then, shall we? In the time before we get ourselves into the champion select for game number 1. So we will have, starting on the blue side for this series, Invulnerables Esports, who made it here by getting themselves a 3-1 win over Carolyn Erner in the first round. And on the red side, starting off at least, August Clash team, who also got here through a 3-1. However, they were against Formulation Gaming. I just want to point out a couple of people that you may want to keep your eyes on. I had the privilege of producing both of those series, so I can tell you that Uzol is pretty darn powerful on the Fiora in particular. And looking across towards the OCT, Citron was basically the shining star of this team, absolutely hard carried in those 3 wins from the jungle position, mostly on the Olaf.
Yeah, I mean, this is what's so exciting, right? You have a player like Uzol who is, I mean, you wrote it in the document here, Brack. I will just kind of let it out right now. You said he's illegally good on Fiora. If
Yes,
that's the
Flipper
case,
said that
in
on
a meta,
broadcast.
yeah, exactly. Flipper said that, and if it's like that in a meta where, I mean, Aatrox is picked so frequently and Fiora is picked as a counter to it, like this meta, I mean, Uzol, he has a mission to carry his team to the Division 2. Then, I mean, it's just set in stone, really.
And we certainly hope that it's that way. You've got to watch out, though. Chaos on the other side does also play that Fiora, so we'll have to see how he wants to do on that one. And we are just moments away from getting in.
I said right. We've been hyping him up already before the Champions Select, and of course he's gonna get taken out. I'm just really excited because game 1 in a best of 5 often means a lot, right? You're kind of showing your cards. You kind of throwing some punches to other teams. Maybe you have a hidden flex pick that you want to pick out in the first game, kind of go out with a bang, and then it just happens that if you win that game with that maybe a secret pocket pick that the teams probably have for themselves, then it's just kind of creating a meta within the best of 5. This is why I love to watch best of 5, especially in kind of divisions like this, because the teams they usually play a lot of like comfort, right? They really want to pick. Doesn't really matter what kind of team comp that they're playing. Sure, you want to have some sort of cohesion in the team comp, right? But as long as you're comfort on these champions, you don't really care. You're just gonna play them.
Definitely. And we see a lot of bans that are kind of what I expected coming into this one. Senna was played twice by Kang in their series. Belveth was played to scary effect by Citron in one of the wins. And conversely, the Olaf actually taken away by OCT. That interests me considering how much of an impact Citron had on it. But just a simple respect, they don't want Hellish to have that either. We are into the picks. We already see that strong flex pick of the Sejuani already locked in for Invulnerables alongside the MF.
Yeah, and already I feel like we've seen a pretty good pick here by Orgles. I mean, Kang going on that Varus. I see it here. Piscalo. I mean, he had an insane win rate on this champion on Varus. In fact, so just picking that away, that kind of tells.
Games.
Yeah, that kind of tells the fact as well, right? That maybe picking away some of the comfort that Invulnerable has, and now they're gonna just counter with the MF, right? This is a matchup that we've seen a lot of the times before. But the Jax insta lock into the Camille, I just love to watch carry top lanes. I would love to have an explosive game like this.
And we know that Uzol loves those carry top laners. I was going to ask you, how do you feel about picking the Camille so early? Like, pulling that curtain back so early in the draft and saying, okay, the Sedge is going into the jungle and giving OCT that opportunity to get that first rotation counter.
Yeah, I mean, I would have expected for Fierce to just look in a champion like the Aether or like a Zoe and just match the styles, right? This is pretty normal. This is pretty much common what you see. But locking the Camille as a blind pick just kind of gives Chaos the opportunity to instantly get a counter pick, right? If he doesn't lock the top lane there, obviously Jax is gonna be taken out, right? So I'm kind of worried for Usol in this matchup. I think Jax is gonna just be able to take over after a couple of items. We've seen it. I think Jax Plank was the one where I casted him in the Aurora Open. And once he got 2 or 3 items, he just completely took over the game. So maybe Chaos can do the same here in this carry matchup.
Doesn't have Jax in the name, but we'll see if he is just as proficient as Jax Blank on that champion. A pick that did come up, but it was picked by OCT into the Silas, is this newly reworked Syndra. In particular, I like the fact that the effectiveness Silas gets from taking the Unleash power is greatly diminished because, of course, he doesn't get the benefits of these new Splinters of Wrath mechanic, which means, more specifically, the upgraded ultimate that basically has Elder passive on it. If you knock someone below 15% of their max health with that ultimate, it just executes them. It just removes them from the game.
Yeah, and this could be a pick of the Fierce Ghost, right? I mean, not really any counter to Silas band. I mean, you see the Tryndamere getting picked out. Maybe that's a hidden counter pick that Invulnerable
It was
has
played.
in their arsenal. Yeah, exactly, right.
It was
But
played by Fierce.
the Aster is still open, the Victor is still open. I mean, the Akali, if you want to play that kind of explosive matchup, is also open. So I'm really excited to see what Fierce is gonna be taking out here. And the Graves lock-in, I mean, this is just kind of standard practice, right? For Citron. If now Sejuani goes into the jungle, Graves is gonna have a really comfortable matchup, and it's kind of hard to counter
Yep.
Graves in that jungle matchup.
We see Citron over and over. You said shining star of this team, loves to play those carry junglers. The rest of the team kind of just there to enable him. And I'm looking at a team that is pretty good at enabling him. But also, if that if that plan A doesn't work, we've got a Silas really strong on a side lane. We've got a Jax really strong on a side lane. And in the meantime, you've got the Varus and the Graves who can just sit on mid and clear out waves. You look for a 1-4, look for a 1-3-1 scenario.
Yeah, the only worrying trend I kind of see here for OCT is that what you're saying, right? They have so many threats, the Jax, the Silas, but these guys they need attention, especially in the early game. And if Graves is obviously a jungler that just wants to kind of play with his tempo,
Wants
he
to be
wants to full clear,
selfish.
he wants to be really selfish, right? And that's the kind of worrying trend that I see here from Orgles. I mean, they have a lot of carries, but someone has to take the bullet in pretty much every draft that you're drafting for yourself in League of Legends. And I'm just kind of curious here, who is gonna take the bullet? Is it Kang on Varus? Is he gonna be kind of weak sided and let his Yumi scale for free as well?
I would
Uh,
imagine so.
yeah, would probably be it, right? But is this gonna be the Sona login? Okay, so this actually
I
makes
love it.
yeah, I love it as well. This makes a lot of sense, right? You have now you have the Yumi at so much scaling on environment, but you have also magic plants on Sona. It's gonna scale probably similar to Yumi, right? So probably this bot lane is just gonna be weak sided, and we're gonna see a lot of action on this top side.
Absolutely. The Sona really good into this Yumi. Obviously, you see her go for a lot of poke, has a lot of sustain with the Zoomies as well. So Sona is there to do basically exactly the same thing. In fact, pretty much like to a point, the exact same thing as this Yumi. Got a bit of poke damage, bit of sustain, and a really impactful ultimate when it comes to those later team fights.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of stoked to get into this one already because from what I can see, I mean, both teams kind of have similar win conditions. They have both playing like a 1-3-1 style, and they also have, I mean, OCT kind of limited in their engage, except for, I mean, the Varus ultimate, the Silas, maybe he can steal the Sejuani, but it's kind of hard to get on top on Invulnerable, honestly. And if either team can snowball their soloers, that's gonna be a clear identity to kind of play through and win the game for you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you that question that play-by-plays love to ask over and over. How do you feel about these comps? Who do you think has the edge in this game one?
I mean, I think actually I kind of like OCT's team comp. I think this is already gonna go to like late game. This is kind of what I can expect. And once Jax,
Minus
I mean,
5 points just for picking Yumi, by the way, Invulnerables.
yeah,
For
exactly.
shame.
That's kind of one of the reasons too. I know that Invulnerable they will be mad at me for predicting the other team, but I mean, I have to be honest, right? As an analyst, I cannot be biased, even though in my heart I hope that
I
they're
can.
gonna be able to take it, even though they locked Yumi. But I think OCT just have a really clear win con in this Jax, and even if. I feel like Hellish and Usol, they really have a lot of pressure in early game to shut down this Jax, because if Chaos just gets a free laning phase, he's going to be able to take over the game. No one is going to be able to match him in the side lane.
Definitely. And we are going to be getting into game very shortly. Teams are just loading in right now. What are you expecting coming out from these level ones then, M-Test? Is it
Ooh.
you expecting some craziness or a little bit less activity in the very early stages, at least. Teams just wanting to mostly chill out and hit that later game that you were talking about.
I mean, I think for OCT especially, I think your team card doesn't really come online until 6. You have, I mean, you're not gonna get Pry on top side. You are gonna get Pry on both sides. So maybe Citron can look to start top side and kind of invade Invulnerable on that red side, on that bottom side, on the red maybe. But that's the thing as well, right? You don't want Chaos, the kind of carry of the win condition of your team to be able to fall behind. So I feel like if he paths to bot, he's kind of leaving his top lane up to dry, and Camille and Sejuani can really abuse him. So I expect neither of the teams to go for something crazy level 1. I mean, they have Sona and Yumi, so probably they're just gonna be chilling.
We are on to the Rift for game number 1 of the day. Invulnerables on the blue, OCT on the red. We do see quite a bit of a stack coming towards this bot side. Perhaps Auglis just trying to see if they can get away with something a little bit cheeky.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Roto starts ES, but actually he is gonna do it. So whatever I said, just throw it out the window. Maybe Piss Hello will get punished here. I mean, he's in quite a bad spot if they do manage to whip around the Rosie here, but I mean, this is gonna be at least a flash, right? You have to imagine. MF is completely...
This has to be. Rotyu stepping on forward. Piscolo will immediately flash across onto the mid lane. And a little bit of those early shenanigans coming out for the Auglis Clash team will work heavily to their advantage.
And that's not just a flash, right? It's kind of a mental game saying that I'm already playing the game from level 1, or less they don't waste any time. I mean, they already got something on the board. Piscalo, even though I mean he's probably not gonna get ganked in this lane, the Varus Zona. Probably Citron is just gonna be full clearing and playing to the top side as we talked about. But it's not having that flash and kind of be able to play as much up as you would have liked. It's gonna kind of hit for this MF.
We'll
they got a ward
as
well on the runoff.
Yes, they do. So they know exactly where Hellish is going to be starting off. Does mean that they can play however they choose. They can try and have Citron meet Hellish in the jungle. But that shall be seen in time. A bit of Barney going on in both of the solo lanes already. Nobody wanting to play a super passive early game.
Yeah, I mean this is why this game could just be super explosive, right? I mean, once again, if Jax, this is a champion that he obviously scales really well, right? And he's kind of pounding Usal right now, even though Usal has the ignite to his advantage. But if Jax gets fallen behind in the early game, he is not really a champion, so he really needs to be careful. He has the flash also not. Camille does not. So I'm just gonna say whoever jungler comes top first is probably gonna be winning, and that's kind of a down factor for Citron because obviously he's playing the Graves. He wants to be able to take it slow, and that's kind of going right now. I mean, Chaos Wave is not in the best spot. I think Hellish could be looking to punish him on this kind of wave.
Absolutely. Citron right now is pushing towards the top side right now. So Piscolo and Sander are going to try and make as much use of this free time, because it's going to be difficult for Kang and Magic Pants to punish that summoner being down, at least on their own.
Yeah, I mean, they are also playing like the cleanse and the heal, right? Not really two summoners that you take if you want to kill your enemy. And for good reason, right? I mean, you're not going to kill MF and you in a 2v2 when you have Sona Varus. It's just out of the question. I'm kind of looking into this. I mean, Citron, Chaos rather, didn't really get punished on this wave, so he was able to crash it. Now it's gonna push back to him, and he can just really chill at his tower, really. I don't think they should be looking for anything aggressive this early into the game. Hellish and Usal, I mean, Camille Sejuani just really potent on the 2v2, but I mean, what do I know? I feel like in Division 2 and 3, all of these teams, they're kind of, sure, they're playing to their win con, but they are never afraid to fight. I mean, you already seen top and mid trading so hard, and now Usal is kind of in a tough spot, because now his wave is pushing into Chaos.
That it is. We do see Citron waiting in the wings, hoping to find an angle to get onto as well. Ozol obviously very much having the lion's share of these early trades. However, Hellish is also here. There is a stun coming through. There's the engage on to Uzol, but it's going to be Chaos, the one who is forced back, has to burn the flash in trade for the ignite of Uzol, and everyone will be able to just about get away for now.
Yeah, I mean, really well played from Usal. I think he was communicating that like 100% because Hellish was moving actually to his bot side again to be looking to clear his Krugs, but then he just whipped around and went to top instantly again because he knew that Usal's wave was not in a good spot. I mean, if Usal gets taken down there and his wave is frozen, it's gonna be. I mean, once again, neither of these teams wants their solo laners, their top laners to fall behind this game because it's such an explosive matchup. I mean, if Camille, it's the same thing, right? If Camille gets ahead and he gets that Divine Sunder first, Chaos is not gonna have a good time. So both junglers covering for the top laners. This is what I like to see when you have those carries on the top side.
Absolutely, as we've seen, Uzal in their previous series was basically man of the match, I would say, especially on the Fiora games that we saw. So not surprising at all to see Invulnerables put that pressure towards him in the early game. First Drake about to spawn will be a Cloud, so Cloud haters can rejoice. No Cloud Soul on the Rift this time around.
Yeah, I swear, like the last week that I played, I mean, every time my team has 2 Drakes, the third one is always a
It's all
Cloud
Cloud
one.
Soul?
Yeah. No,
Sander showing up in the mid lane here. Rothu is going to be forced into the retreat, but Citron is here as well. Fierce is going to have to get the heal popped onto him. Magic Pants making his way topside as well. Hellish should be able to get the permafrost off, but doesn't actually end up getting the proc there. Has to flash away to get to safety. And that is Summoners burnt from 3 members of Invulnerables in a play that they started off.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, a setback there for sure. I mean, I think Fierce now is going to be happy to just be able to recall, right? Get a TP in. He didn't have the base before that. So Route 2 is obviously going to do the same, right? They're just going to push in that wave, get a recall. What I was going to say is that, yes, it is the first Cloud Drake, rather. And what I was going to say is that every time my team has 2 Drakes, the third one is always a Cloud one. So I'm happy to the first one now. It's not going to be a Cloud Soul, rather. It's going to actually be a more fun one. So
I mean, Cloud Soul tells me that, and people have had enough of Cloud Soul showing up every time that they're trying to play in solo queue with a comp that just doesn't support it at all.
Just a bummer as well. You get like the snowballing factor. You have 2 Drakes, you're like super happy, and then you just get let down. The win rate on it is like surprisingly good. It's like almost one of the highest win rates, but I just don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. You get such a dopamine kick when you have the Infernal Soul and you're hitting people for like 1k damage. So that's my cup of tea.
Looking across the map right now, one thing to note. Bot lane completely unpunished for the side of Invulnerables. Piscolo has managed to make it to the 6.5 minute mark, got his flashback completely unaffected, and Hellish showing his face towards the top side as well. This time, no flash for Chaos. Is going to try and jump out. The dive will come through, but the Precision Protocol goes onto the control ward instead of finishing him off, and Chaos performs the hoodwink to make it out alive.
That's really, really unfortunate. I thought Chaos for sure going down there. I mean, he had no flash. Hellish was really seeing the top side, really, really well played there. But as you were saying, a bit of misexecution there from Uzal. He didn't quite have the range to get on top of Chaos, but you have to feel like that was for sure a missed opportunity for the vulnerable. Ooh.
Yeah, Chaos going to be hunting his things for surviving that one. Is going to be able to come back into lane. Still a bit behind, around 10 CS deficit towards the Camille for Uzal, but comes back into lane. Relatively similar items right now. No, the goal discrepancy isn't going to make itself properly felt for another few minutes there.
Yeah, I mean the good pickup I think is for Piscalo to just realize as well that they're actually fighting.
Oh, engage on the Kang here, forcing the flash off. Citron, however, is present towards the bot side. We've got other members of OCT coming down. Exhaust will get popped onto Citron, followed by the bullet time as well. Kang will be able to sidestep that one. No level 6 is coming through just yet, but a double up onto Kang will do a lot more damage. I think he's trying to play bait here and hope that Citron can come back in. There was some damage coming through with the Chain of Corruption, but it gets immediately cleansed. Citron still waiting, still hoping to get something done, but Invulnerables are just not letting him get it.
Yeah, but on the other side, I mean, Hellish is just picking up the hell for free. I mean, once Citron stays for bots for such a long time, and Piscalo and Sander playing it really well, they're kind of wasting Citron's time there, and they are gonna be able to secure that Herald for that Graveskank on the bot side, and they just straight summoners, right? I mean, Kang used his flash, Piscalo, he used his cleanse, like, you're just gonna be super happy with that. What I was gonna say is that I really like the fact that Piscalo went for that cool. I mean, you are going in a 2v2 where no one is gonna no one is really gonna get killed unless you throw it really hard, as Kang almost did there, had to use his flash. But it's going for that call and make sure that you get to later stages of the game even faster. It's just a really good pickup.
Absolutely. Closing up towards the 10-minute mark, and as you say, Invulnerables able to get an uncontested Rift Herald here. We see, once again, Hellish making his way up towards the top side with a Yuumi in tow. Chaos is trying to catch the wave here, but another Hextech ultimatum will lock onto him. He will get locked down and taken down. First blood going across to Uzal, and sorely, well delayed, shall we say, from Chaos, but eventually inexorable. It is picked up.
Yeah, I mean Chaos there again had to use his flash, but there was no ping cord for Uzol to auto-attack there, so does not get out unfortunately. I mean he doesn't have the TP as well. You could argue that maybe Invulnerable just wants to put the Herald on top side, but they're gonna play it a bit slower. They're gonna recall, get some items under their belt, and you just have to imagine that maybe you just revisit his top side now when Chaos doesn't have flash. I mean if you get the tower on him, if you get a kill as well, and you get the full tower for your Camille, this Jax is not gonna be happy in this mid game.
Lovely delay on the back there from Fierce, making it so Rothu will lose this wave to tower. No TP available just yet. Look across the map right now, and that first blood has kind of blown open this early game. Suddenly there's a 1k gold advantage to Invulnerables when it was basically completely neck and neck initially.
Yeah, and I mean, once again, right, Chaos had to use his flash. I mean, I think he was already dead, so maybe we could have decided not to use it and just keep it. Now he's really a bait there to be. I mean, Uzol and Hellish can just revisit that top side once again and try to punish him, but the first strike still on the board. Neither teams really have started yet, so not gonna be as of an earlier soul as maybe in some of the other games that we've been seeing. But Chaos, even though he has no flash, I mean, he still gets really good trade onto Uzol.
Yeah, Uzol now going to be stuck underneath the tower. Chaos might even be feeling himself a little bit. A couple more hits would do the trick, but the passive from Uzol manages to keep him alive, and that will be a second kill across to the Camille. The snowball may just start rolling here.
Chaos was playing that so well up until that dive. I mean, he missed the counter-strike onto Uzol. I think if he hits that, I think Uzol doesn't have time to get his passive up, but he missed it. Uzol, I mean, just cleans up right, and now you said it was a 1k lead. It's almost up to a 2k lead now when Chaos dies under the tower. And while they will get the Drake, I still think Invulnerable are such in a good spot. I mean, they still have the Herald that they can turn into another 1k goal lead. Might just be up by, I mean, 2.5 and maybe even 3,000 by the end of this Herald play.
I mean, look at the individual gold. We see pretty much a 1k gold advantage on Uzol. So the entire advantage has been paid off for Invulnerables. They put a lot of pressure towards Chaos on this top side. They tried so hard to get Uzol ahead, and at this 12-minute mark, it does seem to be paying off.
Yeah, I mean, another credit I have to give is the Fierce. I mean, on this Akali, he had the counter pick, right? He picked Akali into silence, but this is a normal matchup that we have seen time and time again in Worlds, right? And just be able to be, I mean, up 25 CS in a 1v1 situation, it's really impressive.
Yeah, the fact that they've been completely left alone on this map to get a completely uncontested gold advantage and doing so much damage, just going to delete Rothu before Hellish can even get to the mid lane. Will now show up, drop the Rift Herald, still got plenty of time before those plates fall. Not sure if this is going to be enough for first brick, but it's still going to be a whole bunch more gold into the pockets of Invulnerable.
I mean, really, really well played there for Fierce. I mean, usually I caster curse people, but I just caster blessed him. I mean, I was talking about them. He solo killed Rothu, and they were not done. I mean, Hellish went for the Glacial Prison under the tower as well, but Throne not gonna be able to be taken down. As you were saying, the Gold League is still growing for invulnerability. Now they popped the Herald. This is really what I like about putting the Herald in mid so early, because it gives you enough time that if you get secured the next Herald as well, it's for sure gonna guarantee you in that so important mid tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and considering the composition we see from Invulnerables doesn't have the best siege, the MF is good for zoning people away with bullet time. We see Uzol going for another engage on towards Chaos. Hellish flashing forwards, trying to get the permafrost down as well. Gonna go beneath the tower. Hellish will tank it up. Uzol will clean up, finish up the job, and go 3-0 in this top lane.
Yeah, Chaos doesn't have his flash right, and they know this. They've been timing it, so they know they have an opportunity to be able to punish him once again. And I mean, Uzol has already 3 kills. The Divine Sunderer. I mean, this top matchup is just completely over, right? I mean, this is kind of what we were worried about.
Citron showing up towards the bot side, taken to half already by Fierce, but will have to disappear as Magic Pants arrives to assist. And I feel like Chaos needs to speak to a teacher at this point, M-Test, because this has got to constitute bullying in the top lane.
I really love that you got in that. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think this is what we were worried about, right? Citron on this high-tempo jungler, sure, he is almost 40 CS up onto Hellish, but I don't think Hellish cares when he plays Sejan. He's just been snowballing his top lane, and I think they will take this trade any day of the week. And now it's just kind of up to Citron. So much pressure on his shoulders, right, to be able to carry. But can you really carry when you're only 40 CS up on a Sejani against a 3-0 Camille? I mean, it's so difficult.
absolutely is. And you were saying it's a tale of two junglers. We know that Citron wants to be the carry, wants to be ahead, but if we again check the gold, it's only 300 gold difference. Oh, and Magic Pants has found Hellish in the jungle as he's trying to get to his tower. Flash is available, so maybe able to get away from this one, but Piscolo showing up as well. Hellish doesn't care. We'll get that solo kill takedown. I don't know if you can really call it a solo bowler, though, when you're just kind of wailing on a Sona.
Yeah, I don't think we will count that one. I mean, as you were saying, right, kills the Sona. I mean, really good CC change though from Hellish. Doesn't really give Magic Pants to any sort of chance to flash away, and this is just gonna give your bot lane so much pressure. I mean, sure, Kang and Piscalo, they both have their first items completed, but I feel like we are now we have the camera for the first time in the game pan towards the bot side because Hellish was there for the first time. But all of this action has really been on the top side. I mean, look at Fierce. He can keep growing his CS lead. I feel like Roto doesn't really have any saying in this 1v1 matchup.
Doesn't seem that way, and looking forwards to the coming minutes, 45 seconds until the next Drake spawns onto the map. It will be the Mountain Drake. Of course, Clash Team, August, that is, would love to pick that one up, try and keep that dragon stacking going, but how likely is it that they can even step in right now when they're 4k down?
Yeah, I mean, I think Strong does the only one thing that might be able to secure them, which is go through his bot lane. The only like kind of two people in the game that is not, I mean, that's not behind apart from Citron, right? Your solo laners not gonna be able to pressure any sort of thing on their own, right? So he does the correct thing, goes through his bot lane, but as you were saying, I mean, is there really a realistic chance? This is the only kind of win con that they have right now, right? To be able to stack up those two Drakes. And they are first in the river, but Uzol, he's here. Chaos does not have a TP to his arsenal, so this is going to be a 5v4 fight if OCT decides to take it.
Yeah, Invulnerables hard forcing this Drake. They do not want to allow the Drake stacking to come through for the side of OCT. They will just let this one go for the time being. How are we thinking about later game scaling, by the way? Because if it goes super late, we get to, 7th dragon fights for the soul. Who do you think has the theoretical advantage, not taking the current gold situation into account?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I said, right, in the Champions League, I feel like really Orglas, they have kind of the scaling to their advantage, but that's the thing, right? You're asking me to not look at the items, but I kind of can't because sure, OCT, they have the scaling, so they can be saying that, but it's really really hard to scale in a game like this when you're this far behind, right? But yeah, maybe they can get a shot on Fierce.
Citron is here indeed. The rest of Invulnerables are pretty close. Collateral damage will not do enough damage. The lockup will come through. Chaos has to flash out. Citron burns flash as well, but a permafrost will come through for the stun. Chaos is trying to get something back, but he does not quite have the damage to finish off Hellish. Not when there's a Yuumi nearby. And Fierce is for the chase down. He will lock it down as well, and that is another kill for Invulnerables. They are so comfortable in this game.
And Fierce cuts Citron down, he cuts OCT's hopes for this game down. I mean, they're almost 60 ahead before the 20-minute mark, and Uzol, while he's probably gonna be able to have to let down this tower, they don't really care. They got 2 kills on the top side, they got that second herald, they're probably gonna get the tier 2 on top as well. And look at their bot lane, Kang and Magic Pants, they can't even take this tower right now. Oh, no way. No way you win this.
I was just going to step in for this one. Magic Pants is obliterated. And here comes Fierce for the play. Uzol just has to survive and Kang will go down as well. There is nothing on this map for the Auglas Clash team. Invulnerables looking just that in this game 1.
That's a complete disaster for OCT. They're only people that was not behind so far in this game, Kang and Magic Pants. If they get a shutdown on the Camille, maybe Orglas have a chance to win. They have a win con, another one to play through, but right now, I mean, they have 0 kills on the board. They have that one sad little Cloud Drake. And while this was happening, I mean, Invul, they almost got a tier 2 topside. And it's just so hard to see any sort of chance now where Orglas can make a comeback. I mean, Citron still really far ahead on this Graves fight in terms of farm, but they need to be able to get the shutdown onto the Camille and onto the Akali. But it's so hard. I mean, these champions are made to be mobile. They have so many tools to be able to get out of a situation like this.
Rothu stepping into the bot lane. Fierce is here. The level advantage is there. The item advantage is there. Rothu is going to take the perfect execution. Hope to try and find a situation where he can turn this one around. But Hellish is here as well. And here come the TPs. Chaos shows up as well. Rothu still trying to go forward. Still trying to get that kill. Fierce does go down for the shutdown. But everybody is here for the play. And it's actually going to be Augur's Clash team who get the numbers advantage. Now Invulnerables show up. Now they're going to look for the turnaround. It is everybody in this bot lane. Chaos going forward, trying to get the stun. Piscolo is going to be able to flash away from this one, though. Uzul gets taken down for the shutdown, and it is going to be Augur's Clash team who find their advantage. Magic Pants does die to the tower, but they're going to keep on playing this one. Chaos drops him. It's only a sad little cat left in the bot lane. Talk about no hope. There it is, M-Test, as the Augur's Clash team wipe the Invulnerables off the map.
Man, they get an ace in a game where they're 6k behind. How's that possible? I mean, OCT, they played that really well. I think Invulnerable, they really became a bit too cocky there. I mean, we thought it was all done and dusted, but OCT, they show up. And I think Roto got almost a quadra kill. I don't think he had a kill before that fight. And I mean, neither of them had, right? They had 5 kills now, they got an ace, so for sure he got a quadra kill there. And even if it was an unofficial one, look at the gold lead now. I mean, Silas is back into the game. He has even more kills than Fierce.
Yeah, basically back to bang even in the mid lane. We were talking about how powerful Fierce was, but all of those shutdowns, all of that gold onto this Silas, and now for the Augur's Clash team, it does feel like there is a light here. We were talking about their scaling, we're talking about how little it might matter when they were at such a deficit, but that almost insurmountable gold lead has been reduced now by like half. You're 3.5k down now. That's playable. That's achievable.
That's playable for sure, and I mean, Invulnerable still, they have such an advantage right on this top side, on Uzul. If they can play through him, which is likely that they're just gonna be doing, right, they still have a clear win con. But I mean, they have to be nervous right now. I feel like they were also thinking the same thing as we did, right, that the game was over, but they're just gonna start Nash, and they know that Citron is on the bot side. It might be just for free.
Sounds to me, I think Invulnerables might have been a little bit shaken by that fight loss, and they're just saying, okay, well, we know that Rothu's towards the bot side. We know that Citron's probably not going to be realistically able to contest this, so they look for the Baron, and they will sneak away the Baron at 21.5 minutes. It does mean that they will probably have to give away this next Drake to the side of OCT, the first Ocean Drake to spawn onto this rift. But when you've got 3 minutes of Baron-empowered minions pushing forwards, we were talking about playing around Uzul, you can still do the 1-4, and with this Baron, it's going to be so difficult to deal with that Camille in the side lane.
I mean, I just love that answer. Like, you get aced where you felt like the game was winning. It was almost won, right? You had to be feeling that it's invulnerable. But they just go straight to the next play. They reset their mental really fast, and they just go for that Nash, and it was a really good call, right? I mean, they had no clue. And sure, you give up that Drake, and maybe OCT can get their hands on a Cloud Soul in this next couple of minutes, but still, Uzul now have 2 items, they all have the Nash, and they can now set up this 1-3-1 that we talked about. Now, they should be able to open at least the tier 1 bot on the bot side, and I mean, if they play it well, they can open all the tier 2 as well. But they really have to care, because OCT, now they have a couple of items under the belt, right? Rutu has that Rabadon, Kang has the Rage Spread as well, so if they get a fight going, it's for sure possible for OCT to win.
Uzul showing a little bit of the flair, get the hook shot away from that play, but the push will be happening on the other side of the map. Fierce will take this final tier 1 off the map. We can look to close in towards the remaining standing gold in these tier 2 turrets. The top side one obviously still incredibly low from Shelly's action on the map earlier in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, the important thing here, right, for when you're playing with Nash as Invulnerable is here, you have to try at least to sync up those minion waves, right? Make sure that maybe the minions hit the tower at the same time. I mean, you see the Uzul and Fierce doing this right now, both top and bot hitting at the same time. Piscalo a bit off on this mid wave, but I mean, doesn't really matter. You're gonna be able to take a lot of damage on this tier 2. I mean, already looking at it, right? Fierce, without hitting the tower, has taken them down to half HP. Woo.
Citron, that might have just saved the play. Citron spots Hellish with a Sander sat on his shoulder, about, I think, to pull the trigger to dive onto that bot tier 2. Meanwhile, we see Uzol just shoving in wave after wave towards Chaos. He's not going to be fearing this Jax at all. Currently 0-5. Never mind, there might be the dive coming forward. 4 members of Invulnerables towards the bot side. The numbers from the August Flash team are trying to make their way across, but now Uzol has decided to pull the trigger, and Chaos will not be able to resist him. The top laner will fall for the 6th time this game. And now Invulnerables can just sit and wait. They have this Baron-empowered cannon minion, and there's not enough range for August Class team to deal with it. The tower will fall. Turnaround is good though. Fierce drops, as does Hellish. Sander is a sad kitty once again, looking for somebody to jump onto. They're going to try and chase onto Piscolo here. Thankfully, he will be able to strut his way on out of there.
All that healing coming out from Magic Pants, I mean, they couldn't finish it thrown off, and when Graves gets a turnaround, I mean, they have so much burst side, and Magic Pants hit a crucial ultimate to save that play, and this is gonna mean the end of Invulnerables' kind of siege of the Nash, right? Sure, they got 3 towers, and they are gonna be happy with that one, but they could have gotten more, right? Imagine if they finalize that kill on Citron, they get the tower as well, maybe they even get the inhibitor. Now OCT can kind of stabilize the game and play for this next dragon in the upcoming 2 minutes.
They get the push on. It's unlikely that they're realistically going to be able to challenge to get any more towers off this map right now. Only sat on the 1. But the position they're playing in, nearly 7k down, you don't really have the opportunity. And as I was saying, the team from August Clash team is really bad at sieging. The only real long-range damage you have are piercing arrows coming out from Kang and a collateral damage from Citron, realistically. You're only really going to want to press if someone is right on the brink of doom.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I mean, if they try to poke the side of Invulnerable, they have so much sustain, right? Sunder can seal people up with the Yumi, they even have the Warmogs on Hellish. So as you were saying, for sure gonna be impossible to siege towers. This is probably why they have gotten so few already, right? I mean, sure, they've been behind pretty much the whole game, but they have to start fights to be able to take towers, and they are looking for round 1 right now onto Fierce on the top side.
Yeah, Fierce has pushed up quite a ways on the Sakali, but so hard to deal with. Goes into the Shroud, is looking for the perfect execution onto Citron. Won't quite be able to get it, but is able to make some distance. Chaos looking for the chase. Tried to burn the flash as well to get onto this one. Counter-Strike will land. They're still chasing this forwards, but Hellish will step forwards, play bodyguard, and get that Akali out of there.
Man, so many Akali plays there. I mean, I know I would. If I see myself in a 1v3 situation, I would just ult out of the instant, right? But Fierce, he tries to go for the 1v3 outplay. Almost actually gets the kill
alternatively.
Yeah. So I really like the aggressiveness there coming in from him. He managed to live as well, force the flash out of Chaos. And now you have to imagine that Invulnerable, they are gonna play for this Drake, right? And this might be where the game is explodes.
OCT are looking for this one. Hellish does not have the Glacial Prison. Fierce does not have the perfect execution right now. All of the August Clash team ultimates are available. But right now, Uzol is off to the side. They could just try and hard force onto this Camille, since they are so removed from the rest of their team. They are going to start this one up. Eyes on Uzol. Can he find a good backline catch? No, he's going to be finding himself caught. In fact, Rothu goes forwards, trying to get the damage down. The Drake is dropping lower and lower. It's Fierce who picks it up, though, and the engage comes forward. Rothu goes golden to try and spare as much time as possible. It will not be enough, though, as the August